afternoon. My name is Erica Frazier, and today I will be presenting information regarding interpersonal communication. Next slide. Today we will discuss effective communication, overarching goals in communication, effective ways to enlarge my conversation, understanding my background in history, the importance of identifying and understanding one's behavioral blend and its effect on one's communication styles, potential barriers to effective communication, defining noise pollution, and solutions to noise pollution. So let's get started. My overarching goal is to achieve effective communication by using the inhaling and exhaling method when communicating. Inhaling combines the two active interpretive processes and perceiving and listening. Perception is selective, and what we choose to notice affects how we respond to both things and people. Exhaling requires openness, and openness in a relationship refers to a participant's willingness to share their ideas, feelings, and reactions to the current situation. Next slide. I want to understand and master the TLC method, talking and listening card method of communication, which was created by Peterson. In this method, it's a card and it has two sides to it. One is the talker side, the other is the listener side. And each side details some goals that each person needs to focus on during the conversation. Enlarging one's conversation. Stewart says, there's a direct link between the quality of your conversation and the quality of your life. That's a very profound statement to me, because what that says is, as rich as your conversation will be, that's how rich your life will be. So if you are purposeful in making sure that your conversation and communication is effective, then it will enrich your life. Next slide. Enlarging the conversation involves listening and taking in information from speakers, other people, ourselves, all while remaining non-judgmental and empathetic. That was said by Burley Allen. Mindfulness, listening in the moment. That means staying focused, staying connected, and making sure that you're not thinking about other things, as said by Jon Stewart. Empathetic listening enables one to fully understand what the other person is saying. Dialogic listening encompasses empathetic listening, and it also mainly focuses on what the other person is thinking and feeling. Next slide, please. Just a little history about myself. I'm an African American female. I'm 42 years old. I am the oldest of two children. I was raised in a two-parent household. My parents divorced when I was 24 years old. I'm introverted yet very friendly. I'm involved in my local church. I'm an educated woman, and I'm the divorced mother of 3 children. With all of that said, a lot of my personality has to do with my communication style. Carbonell came up with a way to identify one's personality blend, if you will. There's 4 different quadrants to this method. There's the deep quadrant, which is those personality types tend to be direct, driving, they tend to be demanding, and very dominating. In the I quadrant, inspiring, influencing, inducing, and impressive describe those personality types. And in the S, they tend to be steady, they want to serve other people, they're shy, and they tend to be security oriented. In the C category, those individuals are careful, contemplative, calculating, and competent. Next slide. Again, understanding the 4-quadrant model of the basic human behavior often explains why people do what they do. These insights can make the difference between right and wrong responses and the best or worst behavior in any situation, as said by Carbonell. There are 2 categories. This is what is expected of me, and this is me. In the this is what is expected of me, that's how others perceive us. In the this is me, it's how I react or act when I'm most comfortable. Next slide, please. My behavioral blend is CS, and I actually scored a CS in both categories, which indicates I tend to be consistent in all situations. Under the this is expected of me, I am balanced between tasks and people skills. I'm laid back and calm, non-threatening, and easygoing. In the This Is Me category, I often feel nervous about moving forward without sufficient information, and I want to check into everything before making a decision. I like safety and security, and I like everything to be in its place and organized. Next slide, please. Some potential barriers. Personal competitive needs. I may not place value on what's communicated, and I want to be an advice giver, and I'm afraid to self-disclose. Next slide, please. Overcoming some of those barriers. Maybe listening to promote self-esteem, understanding another person's level of okayness. Are you okay, and am I okay? Are we okay when having conversations? And empathetic listening is important. From my spiritual worldview, I think about the scripture, let your speech always be with grace as though seasoned with salt, so that you will know how you should respond to each person. And what this says to me is, as I take in information, I have to make sure I'm processing it effectively. And then when I get ready to respond, I want to make sure that my words give life and bring life to people and situations. Next slide, please. Identifying noise pollution. These are some distractors to communicating effectively. There are internal and external ones. First, the internal. Too concerned with how people view me. I don't listen completely. My mind will wander and I'll think, what are we going to talk about next? And then I hear what I want to hear. Some external ones. Bias-based listening. I do not hear what the person says to me, and at times I interpret what is said differently than what is actually said. And then depending on the time of day, like I'm not a night person, so for me to have a conscious conversation at night may not be the best thing because I will not be fully aware nor engaged. Some solutions. When I'm listening, I need to focus on the speaker. I need to listen intently. And I need to remember that the speaker's words are important and not be consumed by wanting to respond. Externally, I need to listen at a level 1. I need to hear what is being communicated by actively listening and use wisdom as in terms of the timing of conversations. Next slide, please. So how will I apply all this to my life? I'm going to definitely practice the TLC method of communicating. I'm going to listen at a level 1. I'm going to make sure I'm non-judgmental, and I'm going to have a good understanding of not only my behavioral blend, but the behavioral blend of others. And I'm going to most importantly know God's expectations on how I am to treat others when I'm communicating, and making sure that I love unconditionally and communicate non-judgmentally. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.